Hello, everybody, and welcome to the 26th episode of LA Rams Central. I'm Anthony, and I'm doing the show Sunday after the game. So the second part of the show will come on Tuesday, and then I plan on having this up and ready on Wednesday. I have a few things that I want to say about this game now that it's over. And a couple things that I want to mention, because I told you guys there was no reason to be upset or panic with a 3-2 record with what we had down the stretch. And since the Giants also concluded, I feel pretty confident that I can at least do the coverage of that game. So I'll do the first and third episode today, and then I'll do the second part because I still have games that need to conclude to give my input on. And I'll put it all together and put it out there on Wednesday. So 26th episode of LA Rams Central is about to start right now. So I'm extremely upset, clearly, with the result of today's game against the Detroit Lions. Not an expected loss, not a loss that should ever have happened. But putting all that aside, as you guys know, I look at things from a very different standpoint. I come and I look at things as a coach. And I followed coaching since I was a little kid. And guys, over the years, like Vince Lombardi, George Allen, Chuck Noll, Don Shula, Tom Landry, Joe Gibbs, Bill Parcells, the list goes on and on. Bill Walsh. All of these guys have always made the mantra that in the first half, you take your points where you can get them, and you use the second half to figure out from there. The last thing you want to do is be in a position at the end of the game chasing points you should have gotten in the first half. That's what happened today, guys. I don't care if it's 4th and goal with that much to go. That much. Kick the field goal. It's not complicated. It's not even remotely hard. Kick the field goal. Take the points. Why? Because at the end of the game, you have to rely on Case. I'm the worst quarterback that ever played football from Pop Warner to pro to win the game. Win the game. He's got to lead you into the field goal range just to tie it, and then you're going to lean on him again in overtime. Or you take the points when you get them, go into the locker room up 3, and then tie the game. Instead of tying the game at the end, you just need to get in Zuerlein's range. That's all you need to do. This loss is on 3 people. Jeff Fisher, Boris, and Case Keenum. That's it. You can blame the defense all you want. They've given up 61 points the last 2 weeks. I agree. It's terrible. And with the Giants up ahead, you know that number's going to be 90-something points in 3 weeks. But you had an opportunity to win this game. You're averaging 4.8 yards a carry at halftime, or 4.4 yards a carry at halftime. So your solution is to run the ball 3 more times with Todd Gurley. That's it. We ran 3 times in the second half with Todd Gurley. That was all. That was it. You averaged 4.3, yet you only ran the ball 3 more times. Case Keenum had 32 pass attempts. Why? Why is Case Keenum throwing the ball 30 times or more in a game? Why? He's not your best player. Give the ball to your best player. My aggravation is not on the players. I get the defense. I get it. They're struggling right now. But they're injured. We don't have our best corner. We don't have our best defensive end. And we don't have one of our better tackles. We're thin. But it's coaching. Jeff Fisher, why on God's green earth are you putting Hill as the second corner? I love Hill. You guys know that. I like the way he played today. But it's simple. You lost Johnson. So you move Joyner to corner, and you move Hill to nickel. It's not hard. It's not hard. Where was the zone? Where was cover 2? The amount of times on 3rd and 3 or less, we went man coverage, which is easy to beat in this league because they call penalties for sneezing near a wide receiver. Why not go cover 2? Drop back to a zone, jump the short route, force him to throw deep while your front 4 get pressure. Now I'll hand it to Stafford today. He was mobile. He moved all the way around. He wasn't just dropping back to a point and sitting there. He was moving a little bit in the pocket. A little Aaron Rodgers-esque. So I give him that. He burned me a couple of times. Play cover 2. Then he doesn't get 9 yards on 3rd and 8. On a run, Stafford gets 9 yards on 3rd and 8. Because we're man coverage. We're man coverage because apparently Greg Williams thinks E.J. Gaines is Deion Sanders and Hill is Lester Hayes. That's what he thinks. Apparently. Because we just let Golden Tate have 100 yards for the first time this season. That's embarrassing. So I get the frustration with defense. I get it, guys. Should never have been there. We should have a 3-point lead at halftime, and we should have come out with the attitude of, we're going to run Gurley 3 times and then punt if we have to, because I trust our defense, but let's run the ball. Keep our defense as fresh as we can in the second half. We didn't do it. Instead, we're having Case Keenum as if it's Joe Montana dropping back in. I love the Ram players. They're doing the best they can. They have to deal with the referees. They have to deal with the opponent. They have to deal with the coaches. And they have to deal with injuries. So there's a lot going on there. One of the things they shouldn't be fighting is their own coaching staff. But they are. One of the guys that follows me says that Jared Goff is ready. They're just waiting for the right time. This was the right time. Guys, it is in my humble opinion, Jared Goff didn't start today for this stretch of 4 games. We had Detroit, 2-3. New York, 3-3. Bye week. Carolina. This was the time to play him. Because then you've got New England, Atlanta, Seattle, San Fran, and Arizona. What are we doing? We've been eliminated from the playoffs. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but we're 3-3, and we can't beat this team. Let's do the math. Do you think we're going to beat Atlanta? Because I don't. Do you think we're going to beat New England? Because I don't. Do you think we're going to beat Seattle? Maybe. Do you think we're going to beat New York? Because I don't. Do you think we're going to beat New Orleans? Maybe. Do you think we're going to beat Carolina? Because I don't. And I don't think we're going to beat Arizona at the end of the year. I don't care that we're at home. You're not sweeping the Cardinals. Not playing like this. Not with this coaching staff and not with this quarterback. So that's 7 losses. At best. That's assuming you beat the teams you're supposed to beat. We beat Seattle several times in a row. But this one's in Seattle. And we couldn't win in Detroit. In Detroit. Not exactly the loudest building in the world. Not exactly Russell Wilson back there at quarterback. Not exactly Baldwin out there at wide receiver. Not exactly the Seattle Seahawks front 4. I didn't see Sherman back there at corner. Brace yourselves. It's going to be a long set of games. I'm looking at this from a pragmatic standpoint. I would be very disappointed But I would not be surprised if we have a similar fate to the 1991 Rams. Now, many of you are asking, 1991 Rams, what did they do? They got off to a 3-3 start as well. At one point, they were 2-1. Then they went to 2-2. Then they went to 3-2. Then they went to 3-3. And then they lost 10 straight games. And they ended the season 3-13. I don't know how you win games with Case Keenum. But more importantly, I don't know how you win games with Case Keenum and your refusal to run the ball. You were tied. And Todd Gurley didn't carry the ball at all the first two series out of the gate. You didn't. Why? Then you take a 28-21 lead, and your defense not only can't get the ball back, but they march up the field on the longest drive of the day, score a touchdown aided by stupid penalties I'm not even going to get into, and another garbage touchdown in the first half off the... That is a pick six every time. I don't know why it scored touchdowns against us, against Tampa Bay and now Detroit. When they are lobbing it up with a prayer just to get the ball towards the end zone, intercept it! I don't know what we're doing turning around and watching the receiver. Watch the ball, judge it, use your ability. Coaching. So guys, it's time to panic. We're not running the ball, even when we're running the ball well, because we did today. We ran the ball great today, but we're not running the ball. 4.8 yards a carry isn't good enough for apparently Boris, the Rams offensive coordinator. 32 pass attempts with Case Keenum and Jared Goff sitting right there. Now, here's the other statement. Jared Goff, I don't want him to go in with his coaching staff because it's so bad. No. Because what Jared Goff will do is he'll take a play that they give him and he'll actually complete it with some accuracy instead of making the receiver make a difficult catch, turn his focus, and go upfield just barely at the marker instead of turning it into a 20-yard gain. They're going to be blitzing. More one-on-ones. More chances to go deep because he's a rookie quarterback. Better opportunity to hit Gurley on screens. Bigger plays downfield with accuracy. That's what Jared Goff is going to bring your football team. It is shameful today that this man lost a record to Case Keenum. It is shameful that Case Keenum broke a Jim Everett record today with 19 straight completions. I threw up when that happened. It is what it is. We have the worst coaching staff in the history of the Rams organization. I would have rather had Josh McDaniel. I would have rather have had, what's his name there, the Giants D coordinator that used to be our coach that we went 1-15 with, or 2-14. Like, I would rather have those coaches because they could do more with this talent. Those coaches didn't have talent. These guys do, and we're not using it. They're terrible. We certainly have the worst coaching staff in the history of Los Angeles Rams, and that's not a stretch. Maybe not in Ram history, but in Los Angeles Ram history. We have the worst quarterback I've ever seen start, like, ever. This guy makes Tim Tebow look like Johnny friggin' Unitas. Our offensive line can't block anybody when it matters. They don't get off the ball. They're lazy. They stand there. They Olay block against bad defensive linemen. What are they going to do against Jason Pierre-Paul of the Giants? What are they going to do against good corners like Sherman? What are they going to do against good linebackers like Kuechly? We suck. But it's not our players. It's our coaches. Kenny Britt is having an unbelievable season. He'll end up with 1,000 yards receiving. But the sad thing is he never should have, because we're not running the ball. If I'm coaching against the Rams, I'm not worried about Todd Gurley anymore. I'm not. I'm going to do shell coverage underneath, because I don't believe Boris will run the ball 3 plays in a row. Let me just say that to start. I'm going to trust that my defensive linemen can dominate their offensive linemen on running plays. And I'm going to pick Case Keenum off 19 times in a game. And I say 19 because I legitimately believe this head coach would leave Case Keenum in if he had thrown his 18th pick. See, what's happening right now, guys, is Jeff Fisher has made his decision. Case Keenum's his guy. That's it. All of us be damned. He's the genius. We're the idiots. He knows so much better than we do. And he's going to prove everyone wrong by making Case Keenum the guy that carries him to the playoffs. I promise you. He's told Boris, throw more than you run. Forget Todd Gurley. I'm going to prove I can win with this guy. What was that? About 7-9, 8-8 BS? You're correct, Jeff. You're not going 7-9. You're not going 8-8 this year. Keep this up, and you're going to go 4-12, 3-13, 6-10, if you're lucky. So, I am disgusted with this performance. I have nothing positive to say about Case Keenum. It's disgusting to me that he throws for 300 yards when your back is averaging 4.8 yards a carry. That's not good. It's not. It's not good. You don't give up on the run when you're dominating the line of scrimmage. But because Jeff Fisher, we're 3-3. I'm going to do the second segment next. The second segment's going to be a little bit different, guys. It's going to be me doing a breakdown of the Ram-Giant game and giving you a little bit of history there. So stay tuned to that. That's coming up next. So the second segment, a little bit different this week than it's been in weeks past. I'm actually going to do the second segment now with the review of the Ram-Giant game and then do the overall view of the week for the third segment. I'm also going to have a fight song somebody told me to look up, and I found it, and I'm actually thinking about having it be my intro. So if you guys are interested in that, if you like it, let me know. I will make it part of the intro because I think it's pretty cool. So it's about 34 seconds. There's a longer version, but there's about 34 seconds with a lot of old Ram players, and I think it would be pretty neat to have that be the show's intro going in. So we'll have to wait and see, but certainly want to get your input on that. But that's at the end of the third segment. So this segment. So the Rams' record against the New York Giants overall is 26-15. 2-2 in Cleveland as the Cleveland Rams against the Giants. As the Los Angeles Rams, we're 20-8 against them all time. And as the St. Louis Rams, we were 4-5. We lost 5 straight games against the Giants after winning 4 in a row. It's going to be 6 in a row as far as losses to the New York Giants when this week is over, coming up. Because we go to London as the home team. That's why I'm wearing the blue jersey, which for the record I think is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard of. We're in LA, they're in New York. Proximity alone should have made them the home team, and this should have counted as an away game for us. But for some reason it's a home game. Awesome. Awesomely stupid. So I'm extremely irritated with that, but it is what it is. So we're home in London. Okay. You get it. So with the injuries that have mounted, and I don't anticipate Brockers will be back. I don't anticipate Johnson will be back. Quinn may be back, but we're still too depleted on defense. Our secondary play is still too bad to compete. Our coaching is still too terrible to make the right decision. And Eli Manning beat up a pretty good Ravens defense today. So I look at this game, and I'm hopeful for a Ram victory, but I'm expecting a Giant win. And I think it's going to be like 21-13, 21-17 kind of game for the New York Giants. I think Eli's good for 3 touchdowns, and I think the Todd Gurley's good for a touchdown, and we'll find one somewhere else, somewhere. I don't know where. But I just have no faith in this coaching staff to do the job and win the game. I don't expect it. We don't match up well against the Giant receivers. You have Odell Beckham, Shepard, and Victor Cruz, all in which are infinitely better than anything we have on the field defensively. And I don't mean that as a slight to the players. It's just Odell Beckham is legit. Shepard is a great rookie. And Victor Cruz has a history of being a pretty darn good wide receiver. So it's a difficult matchup for our secondary. And our front four can't put pressure because we don't blitz. And they double-team Aaron Donald, and it's difficult to get past good players. And that's kind of the position we're in right now. So I look at this situation as a whole, and I got nothing. I got nothing for you guys to point and say, this is why we're going to win the game. Todd Gurley could be averaging 19 yards a carry, and Boris will immediately stop running the ball because, gosh darn it, he doesn't want Todd Gurley to be the reason we win a football game. It's going to be Case Keenum, baby. And that's the other factor. As long as number 17 is under center, you could kiss wins goodbye. They're gone into the wind. Whether it's a pick at the end of the game, whether it's a fumble, whether in the red zone, which, by the way, should never have happened because we should have been running Todd Gurley with that much time on the clock inside the 20-yard line and 3 timeouts. Just saying, common sense tells you you might want to run the ball there. But, what do I know? I'm just smarter than any of these idiots. So there's a lot of frustration right now stemming from this Lions game. And I feel like if I'm going to do this honestly, then I'm going to need to do it today. Because what I saw today isn't going to happen against the Giants defense. And what I saw today from Stafford and the Lions offense is going to be multiplied by 10 with the Giants. So tell me how you find a victory here, because I don't. I don't see a victory in sight. So we're going to go into the bye week 3-4, getting ready for a Carolina football team that is better than we are defensively, unfortunately. Their defense is better than our offense is what I'm trying to say. I'll take our defense over theirs every time, but their defense is better than our offense. And our defense is going to get worn down against Carolina. The other thing that scares me about our defense is we're giving up way too much yardage on the ground to be a playoff team. You cannot give up those kinds of yards to, what was his name? Was it Zimmer? Zinner? Something like that. Whoever the running back was for the Lions, it was just gashing us for 15-yard gains. Like, that's got to stop. Because Jonathan Stewart will embarrass you on national television. But, hey, so it's going to be a frustrating day. We come out of the bye week with 3 straight home games, Carolina, New York, and Miami. For some reason, I forgot about those teams. I'm so focused on the difficult stretch coming up with New Orleans, New England, and Atlanta that I'm nervous. So I think the Jets and Dolphins, although the Dolphins beat the Steelers, I think the Jets and Dolphins are a win. I think San Francisco at home is a win. But, guys, that's it. Like, I don't see us beating New England. I don't see us beating New Orleans. I don't see us beating Carolina. I don't see us beating New York. I don't see us beating Arizona. I know that we're at home, and that's going to pain people to say, but we barely beat them in Arizona, and they're getting better and better each week. We'll see. Maybe that's your 7th win. That's my hope, is that's our 7th win, but that's 7-9 again. That's 7-9 again if we win that game. So we come out of this game 3-4, then we get Carolina. Then you get to 2 wins, you get to 5-5, but then you've got 4 straight losses. And then you end the season with 2 straight wins. I mean, maybe you steal the one against Seattle and go 8-8, but that's not what we wanted. So it's a frustrating time right now. these are the games that when you lose, they alter your season. Buffalo doesn't alter your season. Detroit alters your season, guys. Maybe they'll get right. We can only hope. We'll hit the third segment next. All right, this is the third installment of the show. I'm going to go ahead and do the review of the games, and then we'll be wrapped up. And this week is done. You guys have the video. As far as the games, San Diego, Denver, I said San Diego would be in it all the way through the end. I didn't expect the Chargers to win. I don't think a lot of people picked the Chargers to win that game, but San Diego did. Big game for Phillip Rivers and Hunter Henry, and just a fun game to watch, really. I mean, it was a good old-fashioned football game. Reminded me of watching football a little bit in the 90s right there. But a 21-13 Charger victory surprised everyone. Buffalo against the 49ers, Colin Kaepernick's return to the field, and his performance was exactly what everyone expected, garbage. And in return, they lost 45-16, as Kaepernick showed why he is not even a pro quarterback. I guess for us Ram fans, it could be better, but at least we don't have Colin Kaepernick as our starter. We have Case Keenum, but at least he's not Colin Kaepernick. Jacksonville against Chicago was a game I picked the Jaguars to win, as you guys know. And like Buffalo, I got this one right. I didn't expect this close of a game as we got. I felt like the Bears did a pretty decent job. Another major upset was Miami over Pittsburgh. Did not see that one coming. Miami won 35-15. Great performance by the defense. They held Pittsburgh in check most of the way, and it turned out to be pretty vital as they got the victory. Cincinnati, 30-15, by the way, in that game. Cincinnati against New England. Everyone kind of knew the Patriots were going to win this game. They were home, and they won handily, 35-17. So a big win for the Patriots. Not in overtime, but in the waning moments, the Saints did beat Carolina. I didn't think Carolina would lose this game with Cam Newton at the helm, but maybe Carolina's worse than I thought. I knew they were a bad football team. I didn't think they were this bad. 1-5 and a 41-38 defeat. There's no defense to be found, and that offense is about as inconsistent as you can possibly get. The New York Giants game, the Giants won 27-23. I picked the Ravens, but the thing that bothered me about this game was the celebration at the end. I don't know why that gets flagged. He took his helmet, unbuckled his helmet, and ran to the sideline. I mean, it's getting a little ticky-tack on Odell Beckham at this point. Leave the guy alone. My God, when he commits a penalty, yes, call him for the penalty, but good heavens. All he did was unbuckle the chin strap and celebrate. I don't know what the league's doing right now with celebration issues, but knock it off. The fans want it. Your ratings are plummeting because you're ignoring what the fans are telling you they want. They're tired of you telling us that there's parity when there clearly isn't, and we're tired of you shutting down the celebrations that don't need to be shut down. Team celebrations should be embraced. The bob and weave, the fun bunch, the dirty bird, all of that's fine with us. Calm down. So that bothered me, and it almost cost the Giants the game. A bad pass interference penalty, by the way, almost won that one for Baltimore, but nonetheless, they came out. Tennessee, Cleveland, this game was good. I expected Titans to roll, and they didn't. Mariota just torched the Cleveland Browns in the first half, and then the second half, things seemed to die down a little bit, and the Browns kind of got themselves back in the game. I like Cody Kessler. Guys, I don't know if I'm the only one, but I like Cody Kessler a lot. And I don't know what the overall assumption is here with him, but, I think he's playing good football for a bad football team. How about those Washington Redskins? Huh? I mean, 27-20, did not expect the victory. Was hoping they would win, but didn't expect them to. I think the Redskins right now, guys, are playing great football. They may be the best team in the NFC East, including a team by the name of the Dallas Cowboys. They're playing some really good team football, and they're beating good teams, and they're winning division games. So I didn't call that one, but congratulations to you Redskin fans. That was a big, big win. Kansas City, Oakland, another blowout. Every game I highlight is a blowout. 26-10, Chiefs over the Raiders. It wasn't even that close. The Raiders jumped out to an early lead, and the Chiefs just blew the doors off of that wagon. Speaking of blowouts, Dallas' 30-16 win over Green Bay. Things are starting to unfold here, guys. We're starting to see what kind of team Green Bay really is. And their woeful offense and their defense, which has been suspect the last 2 years, it's starting to come to a head and it's starting to separate a little bit. I didn't like the way that situation's unfolding with Green Bay, but Dallas blew them out 30-16 in Green Bay. All right, I'm going to talk about this game. Seattle, Atlanta. That's pass interference. That's pass interference in Pee Wee football. That's pass interference in 1908 in college. That's pass interference in 1920. That is a penalty. And I know the Falcons took the high road here. I won't. How many times do we have to see teams that aren't that good getting gift wins? Because the league has an affiliation for the team. New England, Seattle, Pittsburgh over the years. I mean, I don't know. What are you looking for? There's a clear wraparound. There's a clear tug twice before the ball gets there, and you're not calling it. So, yeah, Seattle wins the game, but they're not good. They're not as good as their record indicates, and they're beatable. They're very beatable. The officials just need to get out of the way. Call the game like it's supposed to be called. Let the outcome be determined by the play on the field, not your gambling at the casinos in Vegas. Okay, I get it. You bet on the Seahawks. You made sure your bet came through. That's right, I said it. I think NFL officials bet on games. And their play calling, as far as officiating, doesn't prove me wrong. That bothered me. Because Atlanta, I don't think, would have won the game anyway. I think Seattle's defense would have held strong there. Although that would have put him at the 35-yard line if pass interference was called. But then so be it. It just bothers me. It bothers me. And, yeah, Atlanta would have won the game, but who cares? So, if I'm a Falcon fan, I'm feeling really good right now. And if I'm a Seahawk fan, you can gloat and be arrogant. Oh, whatever, dude, we're 4-2 or 4-1 or whatever your record is. That's fine. You're right. You are. For now. But you won't be for long. Because eyes are on you now. Bad win. Bad game. The officials ruined a great football game. Ruined it. Took a great game and took a big fat wet dump on it. Disappointing. Houston against Indy. What a comeback. Indy had this game most of the way through, and then at the end of the game, Houston came back and won. You a fan of Brock Osweiler yet? Because I am. You a fan of this Houston Texans football team yet? Because I am. I know Indy's bad. But this isn't a game Houston wins last year. And remind you, no J.J. Watt. Arizona, New York. The Jets are terrible. 28-3, everyone knew it. Cardinals win. Good job, Cardinals. Already did my prediction on the Rams-Giants. I'm sticking to it. I think the Giants win. Green Bay at Chicago is the Thursday night game. Green Bay doesn't win this one. Green Bay's a really bad football team. Chicago has no offense, and they have no defense. Green Bay in a rout. It's as simple as that. Cleveland at Cincinnati. Battle of Ohio. I'm going to call it. Cleveland wins. They get off the schneid. They beat the Bengals because Cincinnati's reeling right now. The Bengals need to win this game, but Cleveland's played everyone tough, and I think this is a game Cleveland wins. I don't know, maybe 3 points. Maybe I'm wrong, but I think Cleveland wins. Washington, Detroit, clearly the Redskins, right? I mean, the Lions aren't this good. They barely beat us, and we're not exactly explosive. And if anybody had a brain on our coaching staff, we would have blown the doors off of that one. Washington has a better coaching staff. They have more brains on the staff, and they have a better quarterback. Washington wins in a rout. And by a rout, I mean a rout. Washington wins. Oakland at Jacksonville, Raiders. Raiders are coming back with a vengeance from that 26-10 beatdown Kansas City handed them. They destroyed Jacksonville in Jacksonville. New Orleans at Kansas City, I'm picking the Chiefs. Kelsey. I think Kelsey makes the difference, and I think the Chiefs win over New Orleans. The Saints are on a roll, 2 in a row, and they beat they beat good football teams in years past, and last year's a good football team, but neither one of those teams are good this year. Kansas City wins rather handily. Buffalo at Miami. The Bills are on a roll. They are butter because they're on a roll, and they're going to continue that roll. They are going to blow Miami out. I know Miami's riding high from their win over Pitt, and they're going to think it's cool, but Shady McCoy is going to run all over that Dolphin defense and blow the doors off of that game. Baltimore at the Jets, I actually think is going to be a good game, but I do think Baltimore gets back. From what I'm hearing, they stayed in New York. So I think not they had to. They live in Baltimore, actually. I think they went back to Baltimore. I'm sorry, I was thinking of a different team. That was a college football team, sorry. Baltimore beats New York in New York. I think they go back and they handle their business this time against a really bad Jet football team. Minnesota at Philly. Be ready, Viking fans, because I'm picking you. Philly got hot, but they're human, and they proved they're human, and they proved just how indifferent of a football team they are. Minnesota has beaten far better opponents on the road than what they're facing Sunday. I think the Vikings beat the Eagles, and they go on to 6-0. Indianapolis at Tennessee. I think the Titans are legit this year, guys. I told you they were improved. I didn't think they were this good. I figured they would be a 500 football team, just under 500, maybe 6-10. They look good. I think DeMarco Murray and Marcus Mariota light up Indy and go on for another victory. San Diego at Atlanta. Does anybody think this is going to be close? Does anybody think this is going to be close? Because I don't. Do you? If you do, comment. I want to know comments. Do you think the Charger-Falcon game will be close? I think Atlanta runs away with it by like 14 points or more. Tampa Bay at San Francisco. This might be one San Fran actually wins, but I'm going to give the nod to Tampa Bay here because they are playing such a bad 49er football team. So I say Tampa Bay wins. I think it'll be a tough, hard-fought game, but I think in the end Tampa will find a way to get the victory. New England at Pitt. I think Pittsburgh's going to win this, guys. I said after they lost, they would come back when they lost to Philly and beat Kansas City. I thought it would be a close game. I think this one will be a close game, but I do think Pittsburgh wins at home, smarting from the loss last week by a very bad Dolphin team. This will be the Patriots' second loss of the season, and Pitt will win. Sunday night, Seattle at Arizona. I think Arizona wins. I'm calling it right now. Arizona wins. You're not going to stop Johnson, and you're not going to stop the Cardinals' offense because you will get called for interference at some point. I know it's going to happen, and the Cardinals will take advantage of it. The key here for Arizona is protecting Carson Palmer. But if Johnson's running wild, and I think he'll run for about 110 yards, I think they could stem Seattle. I don't think Seattle's as tough as they've been in years past, and you can put pressure on Russell Wilson. This is a Cardinal victory, and the Cardinals will improve to 4-3 and knock Seattle down to 4-2. Houston at Denver, the return of Brock Osweiler. I would love for Brock Osweiler to win this game. Not going to happen. Denver's going to blow them out. I don't know if they'll be shut out like New England did them, but Brock Osweiler gets a beat down by his old team. Unfortunately, I think the Broncos pull out a victory. And that wraps it up. I mean, we'll see if my predictions are right, but that's where I'm at. Now, as far as you guys go, I want to make this clear. I have a video that I'm going to play. It's the marching song band thing that a fan told me about. And forgive me, I don't remember your handle. But he wanted me to play it, see what I thought. I liked it. Now I want to know what you guys think, if you think this should be my opener from now on. So I'm going to play it next. Hope you guys enjoy. That's a wrap for LA Rams Central. See you next week, where hopefully the Rams will be 4-3. But I have my doubts. So I'll say it again because you know I mean it. And I don't care if they win or lose. I'm a Ram through and through. So go Rams! Just kidding. Here it really is. I just want to get you guys on that. It doesn't exist. It never happened. We don't acknowledge that. You guys that wore Ramit shirts at the game against, stop it. It never happened. It never happened. This is the real one.
This is Elroy Hirsch of the Los Angeles Rams, presenting the Rams song.